Welcome to the Nourished Mama podcast. I am your host, Anna Robinson, certified nutritionist and wellness coach, plus fellow mama. This podcast is here to show you that you can live your healthiest, happiest, most vibrant life as a mama. Each week, I will be sharing different nutrition, lifestyle, and mindset hacks that are going to support you in your health journey. You can expect realistic and sustainable advice, plus strategies that can easily fit into your busy life as a mama. Because without a nourished mama, there can't be a nourished home. So if you are committed to creating a life filled with vibrance for you and for the ones you love most, then you are in the right place. So let's get into today's life-changing episode. Hey there, wonderful mamas. Welcome back to another episode where we dive deep into women's health and wellness. Today we're exploring a topic that's an absolute game changer for women's health, and that is the incredible benefits of anti-inflammatory eating. So if you followed me for a while, you will know I am a huge advocate of the anti-inflammatory diet, and I've been teaching this way of eating for over 6 years now. I truly believe this will be the way of eating now and in the future, especially for women. We will start seeing this incredible diet, way of life, way of eating emerge so much in 2025. And that's because the incredible benefits are absolutely endless. And I'm going to be chatting more about those with you today. But before we do that, there are several reasons why this is the only approach to nutrition and diet I teach, I recommend, and I practice myself. And I want to talk a little bit more about that. So if you listened to episode 1, you would have learned that I was actually diagnosed with an autoimmune condition. And we now know that almost all autoimmune symptoms are triggered by an inflammatory response. When I learned this, I naturally delved deep into understanding how to reduce inflammation in my body and reduce this inflammatory response. And that's when I became obsessed with understanding anti-inflammatory eating, because this approach completely changed my life. I was actually able to reduce my symptoms by more than half within months, and within a year I was completely symptom-free. Absolutely wild. But this isn't the only reason I fell in love with this way of eating. I also found that after years of trying every new diet trend to help me lose weight and feel like myself again after having kids, nothing worked or sticked. And trust me, I tried it all. Keto, counting calories, paleo, and then I would punish myself at the gym on top of that. I would see some results, but within months I would put all the weight back on, and in the end, I felt more exhausted than when I was waking up for a newborn. Little did I know at the time that this eat less, exercise more approach was actually messing with my hormones and adding more stress to my already burnt out, depleted body. It wasn't until I adopted an anti-inflammatory eating approach that I saw some incredible results when it came to weight loss and all other areas of my health. This way of eating allowed me to break free from that eat less approach that every other diet is based on. I started to look at food from a place of abundance. How can I fit in more of the good stuff that will nourish me and replenish my depleted body? Within weeks, even days, I could feel my energy shift. I started sleeping better. I felt calmer. I was less irritable and moody. And after a month, my weight began to shift. My face was less puffy and inflamed. I was no longer bloating after each meal. My skin looked more vibrant. I just couldn't believe the results I was seeing. And the crazy part was I was eating more than I ever had before. Now, I want to get into each incredible benefit you can experience too with anti-inflammatory eating. But before I do that, I want to quickly break down what an anti-inflammatory eating approach actually looks like. Now, I want you to think of inflammation like a fire in your body. A little bit is good and necessary for healing, but too much will cause damage. Anti-inflammatory eating is all about choosing foods that will help manage this fire. This approach is focused on whole, nutrient-dense foods that naturally fight inflammation. So think colourful vegetables and fruits, healthy fats like olive oil and avocados, nuts and seeds, fatty fish rich in omega-3s, beans and legumes loaded with fibre and minerals, poultry, meat loaded with protein, etc. At the same time, it also means reducing foods that fuel inflammation. These are things like processed foods, refined sugars, vegetable oils, as well as most gluten and dairy. Now, this may sound a little tricky at first, but trust me, it is so much easier than you think. Almost all the mamas in my programs comment on just how easy it was for them to limit these foods because they didn't have to restrict their portion in anti-inflammatory eating. Women, especially mamas, are particularly susceptible to high inflammation levels. First, our hormonal cycle naturally creates inflammatory responses in our body. Every month, our bodies go through complex hormonal changes that can trigger inflammatory responses. Add to that the massive hormonal shifts that come with pregnancy, postpartum recovery, perimenopause, menopause, and you've got a perfect storm for inflammation. Then you add the demands of motherhood that can seriously amp up inflammation in your body. Think about it, the sleep deprivation, the constant stress of juggling multiple responsibilities, the tendency to grab quick, convenient foods while taking care of everyone else, and even the physical demands of carrying children, nursing, running after toddlers, stressing about teenagers. All these factors trigger inflammatory responses in your body. And let's be honest, how many times have you put yourself last? We're often so busy taking care of everyone else that we forget to take care of ourselves. We skip meals, rely on caffeine to keep going, or grab whatever's quick and convenient rather than what's nourishing. This creates a cycle where inflammation builds up over time, leading to fatigue, mood changes, and health challenges that many women just attribute to simply being a mum. But we can't let these symptoms define motherhood, and you don't need to. I did for so long, and I ended up paying the price. I wish someone had told me about anti-inflammatory eating back then, because the beauty of this approach is it really fits into a busy mama's life while providing the deep nourishment our bodies are crying out for. It's not about perfect eating. It's about making choices that support your body's natural healing abilities, even in the midst of chaotic family life. It's also incredibly beneficial no matter what age or stage of motherhood you are in. You could be a couple of months postpartum, or you could have teenage kids and you thought you would have felt better by now. You could be in those postpartum years, perimenopausal years. Anti-inflammatory eating is incredibly beneficial for your body at all stages of womanhood and motherhood. Now, here's what makes anti-inflammatory eating so different from other approaches you might have tried. First off, throw out the calorie counter. This isn't about restricting portions or obsessing over numbers and making sure that you've got small amounts of food on your plate. It's about nourishing your body with foods that make it function better. It really is that simple. Unlike restrictive diets that leave you hungry, starved, and frustrated, anti-inflammatory eating is about abundance. You're not counting every calorie or weighing your food. Instead, you're filling your plate with delicious, satisfying foods that naturally reduce inflammation and support your entire health. Think about it. Traditional diets often feel like punishment. They tell you what you can't have, they leave you hungry, and usually aren't sustainable long term. Have you ever heard of someone being on a diet for like 3, 4, 5 years? But anti-inflammatory eating is absolutely different. You're not just eating foods that are nourishing you, you're eating a lot of foods that are continuously making you feel better. And when you feed your body what it truly needs, amazing things naturally happen. Your appetite will start regulating itself. Your cravings will begin to diminish, and your body finds its natural balance because internally you are letting it heal and thrive. It's a flexible approach that can adopt to your lifestyle and preferences, and it's family friendly. The mamas in my programs are constantly letting me know how much their entire family enjoys all the meals. Now I want to break down why anti-inflammatory eating is particularly powerful for women's health and how it can transform the way you feel, think, and live. I first off want to talk about burnout. Now, this is something that a lot of you are probably familiar with. If you're feeling constantly exhausted, overwhelmed, and you're running on empty, inflammation might be playing a bigger role in this than you think. When we're stressed, our bodies produce inflammatory compounds. Add poor dietary choices to the mix, and we're basically throwing gasoline on that fire. But here's the good news. Anti-inflammatory foods like leafy greens, berries, fish can help break this cycle. They support your adrenaline system and help your body manage stress responses a lot better. And speaking of feeling tired, let's talk energy. You know that mid-afternoon slump that has you reaching for another coffee? That is inflammation talking. Anti-inflammatory eating helps stabilize blood sugar levels and supports your mitochondrial function. These are your cell's power plants. Try starting your day with a protein-rich breakfast like eggs, smoked salmon, or add chia seeds in your smoothie, a little bit of plant-based protein powder, or even add really powerful anti-inflammatory superfoods to your eggs like turmeric, ginger. These anti-inflammatory powerhouses provide sustained energy without the crashes that come from inflammatory foods like processed sugars. Next up is that beautiful hormone harmony. This is a huge one. Our hormones are incredibly sensitive to inflammation. When we're eating inflammatory foods, it can throw our entire endocrine system out of whack. This can show up as irregular periods, PMS, mood swings, intense cravings, or even fertility issues. Anti-inflammatory foods, especially those rich in healthy fats like avocados, olive oil, provide the building blocks for balanced hormone production. Cruciferous vegetables, for example, like broccoli and cauliflower, contain compounds that help metabolize excess estrogen, which is absolutely crucial for hormonal balance. Studies have actually shown that women who follow an anti-inflammatory diet have up to 30% lower risk of developing endometriosis. That is huge. And when it comes to PCOS, research indicates that following an anti-inflammatory eating pattern can reduce insulin resistance by up to 40%, which is a key factor in managing those PCOS symptoms. And it's also a huge factor in weight management. And get this, research has found that women who incorporate anti-inflammatory foods regularly are 35% less likely to report severe PMS symptoms. And for those trying to conceive, the numbers are equally as impressive. One study showed that following an anti-inflammatory diet may improve fertility markers by up to 60% and increase successful pregnancy rates by up to 40%. What's even more interesting is that women who maintain an anti-inflammatory diet during their reproductive years have a 20% lower risk of developing severe menopausal symptoms later in life. The results and studies around hormonal balance are absolutely incredible. Next up is the gut inflammation connection. We really need to talk about your gut. It's basically command central for inflammation in your body. An inflamed gut can lead to all sorts of issues, from bloating to more serious digestive problems like IBS and food sensitivities. But it also goes beyond just digestion. Your gut health is intimately connected to your immune system, your mental health, and even your skin health. Including fermented foods like kimchi and kefir, along with fiber-rich foods like legumes and whole grains, helps maintain a healthy gut microbiome that keeps inflammation in check. Here's something mind-blowing. Your gut houses about 70 to 80% of your immune system. That's right, the majority of your immune cells live in your digestive tract. And research shows that when we shift to an anti-inflammatory diet, we can see a positive change in our gut microbiome in as little as 48 hours. Another study found that people following an anti-inflammatory diet have up to 50% more diversity in their gut bacteria compared to those that are following a Western standard diet. This is crucial because higher bacterial diversity is linked to better overall health. And when it comes to gut permeability, also known as leaky gut, the impact is significant. Research indicates that incorporating anti-inflammatory foods can reduce intestinal permeability markers by up to 40% in just 3 months. This is huge for women dealing with digestive issues like IBS, autoimmune conditions, or even food sensitivities. And when we look at fiber-rich anti-inflammatory foods, the numbers are even more striking. Those consuming at least 30 grams of fiber daily from anti-inflammatory plant sources report 45% reduction in bloating symptoms. The connection to other health aspects are fascinating too. Studies have found that women who maintain a healthy gut through anti-inflammatory eating have a 65% lower risk of developing anxiety and depression, showing just how powerful that gut-brain connection really is. And get this, those who include prebiotic-rich anti-inflammatory foods daily show a 40% improvement in their sleep quality. This is likely due to the gut's role in producing those sleep-regulating hormones because it is all connected. Now moving on to weight management and water retention. This is huge in mamas. Here's something interesting. Chronic inflammation can make it harder to maintain a healthy weight and can contribute to water retention. When your body is inflamed, it tends to hold onto water and fat as protective mechanism. Anti-inflammatory foods help reduce water retention naturally. Think of foods like celery, cucumber, and leafy greens. They actively help reduce inflammation and support your body's natural detoxification processes. Inflammation can be a huge blockage when it comes to weight loss. Some studies have found that when inflammation is high, no matter what someone eats or how much they exercise, they won't be able to lose and shift weight. Think of it this way. When your body is inflamed, it's like trying to drive a car with the parking brakes on. You can push the gas pedal all you want, exercise more, eat less, but you won't get very far because there's a mechanical issue that needs to be addressed first. The mechanical issue is inflammation. The good news is when we focus on reducing inflammation first, many people find their bodies naturally begin to release excess weight. It's not uncommon for women to report that weight that seems stuck for years. The good news is that when we focus on reducing inflammation first, many people find that their bodies naturally begin to release excess weight. It's not uncommon for women to report that weight that seemed stuck for years starts to shift once they address their inflammation levels through diet and lifestyle changes. This happens because reducing inflammation helps restore proper insulin sensitivity, helps balance hunger and satiety hormones, improves thyroid function, reduces water retention, supports healthy cortisol levels, and optimizes metabolic and digestive function. Chronic inflammation can also cause your body to hold on to excess water as a protective mechanism. Many women find that when they reduce inflammation, they lose several pounds of water weight within just the first few weeks, even before any significant fat loss occurs. Now, this isn't just about the numbers on the scale, guys. It's about your body being able to function the way it's supposed to. Next up is mental clarity and emotional well-being. Now, brain fog. That fuzzy, unfocused feeling, it is so often linked to inflammation. And for women juggling multiple responsibilities, mental clarity is a non-negotiable we really need to work on. Anti-inflammatory foods rich in antioxidants like blueberries and dark chocolate help protect your brain cells and support cognitive function. Like I mentioned earlier, studies show that people who follow anti-inflammatory diets tend to have lower rates of depression and anxiety. Inflammation can actually block the production of key neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, your feel-good hormones. What's really interesting is that 95% of your serotonin is actually produced in your gut, not in your brain. So when you're eating inflammatory foods that irritate your gut, you're directly impacting your mood and your emotional well-being. Think of inflammation like static on a phone line between your gut and your brain. When inflammation is high, that communication gets disrupted. But when you switch to anti-inflammatory eating, it's like clearing that static and allowing your body's natural mood regulation system to work properly again. Women who consistently follow anti-inflammatory eating patterns report better stress resilience, more stable moods throughout their menstrual cycle, improved sleep quality, reduced anxiety symptoms, better ability to focus and concentrate, and more consistent energy levels throughout the day. What's particularly fascinating is how quickly these changes can happen. While some benefits obviously build over time, many women report noticeable improvements in their mood and mental clarity within just 2 to 3 weeks of adopting an anti-inflammatory eating style. This isn't about taking away foods you love. It's about adding in those foods that help your brain function at its best. And here's something else to consider. Chronic inflammation can affect your brain's pleasure centers, actually making it harder to feel satisfaction and joy from everyday experiences. By reducing inflammation, you're not just avoiding negative mental states, you're actually enhancing your capability for positive emotions and experiences, which we want so much more of with our family. Now, guys, these are just some of the incredible benefits of anti-inflammatory eating. I could seriously go on and on, but I don't want to overload you. I want you to remember, though, that this isn't about perfect eating. It's about making choices that support your body's natural ability to heal and to thrive, and that's exactly what anti-inflammatory eating does. The power of this approach goes far beyond just reducing inflammation. It's about giving your body the tools it needs to function at its best. When we reduce inflammation through our food choices, we're investing in our long-term health and well-being. Everything we do now is going to determine how those years in menopause and beyond go for us. And anti-inflammatory eating is one of the most powerful ways to secure longevity. If you're ready to start your journey into anti-inflammatory eating, I have the perfect program for you. My Beat the Burnout Detox is your complete guide to anti-inflammatory eating, with a 7-day anti-inflammatory meal plan, quick and easy strategies for sugar cravings, coffee, sleep, and more. Plus, you get lifetime access so you can start when you're ready and repeat the meal plans as many times as you like. The meals are family-friendly and loaded with goodness for your entire household. Over 300 mamas have done the detox in the last few months with some incredible results. That's all for today's episode, guys. If you found this information helpful, please share it with another mama in your life who you think will also benefit from it. Until next time, here's to your health and vitality, mama. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope this conversation has inspired you to live your healthiest, happiest life. Don't forget to subscribe and tune in next week. Bye for now.